needs to find you finds you, you know, regardless of zodiac signs. I know people like to look up their zodiac signs, but I think ultimately we're not defined by our signs. So, yeah, so let's see what wants to come through. What's important for the collective to know right now? What is important for the collective to know right now? So far, we have the Empress. Let's see what else pops up. What's important for the collective to know right now? Nice. There we go. So we have the Empress, the Ten of Pentacles, the Hangman. Let's see what else comes out. One more. Interesting. Wow. So some big things. Big energies here. The Empress, Ten of Pentacles, the Hangman, and the Devil. Okay. Yeah, you know, the Empress is just really speaking of the feminine right now. She is, you know, the epitome of the feminine energy. You know, she's creative, she's connected to nature, she's grounded, she's loving, intuitive, nurturing, kind, you know. But the feminine energy is also, right, like I think sometimes we get a little bit stuck on like these social ideas or social constructs around femininity, but feminine energy, you know, it is all of those things, but feminine energy is also very destructive. And Pele comes to mind, right? Pele is, you know, she's an absolute feminine energy, right? She's always creating new life, right? She's spewing out lava. And for those who don't know, Pele is the volcano goddess in Hawaii. And she's creating this new land, this new life, right? But in order to do that, she's also destroying everything in her path, you know, as that lava flows, right? It's burning things to the ground and covering it in, you know, molten rock, right? But from that also, not only is new land created, but new life arises, you know, from that. And the old was completely destroyed. So the feminine really is also about death and rebirth. That is very much the energy of the feminine. Okay, it's not just being soft and sweet and loving and intuitive. It is about creation, and creation is often chaotic, and creation is often through destruction, right? Creation is like the idea of like taking raw materials and putting it together to form something new. Okay, so I do feel that that energy is very present here with the Empress showing up. And I do feel like it's really important to tap into, because the Ten of Pentacles is a card of family, legacy, you know, inheritance. I'm when I say legacy, I'm really thinking about things that are passed down through generations. And the big feeling that I'm getting here with the Empress and the Ten of Pentacles is this idea of the feminine energy like really needing to be something that is understood more fully and passed down through the generations in a different way, in a more responsible way, not in a way that has preceded these moments, which is of, you know, exactly what I said, the feminine being like simply not simply, but only, the loving, soft, mother archetype, right? Like she's also, extremely powerful. And that's the thing too, is like the energy that is coming through is like this idea of creation, right? Like creating, right? Through the softness, through the nurturing, through the holding, the receptivity, right? As opposed to creating only through the masculine force, drive, push. Um, you know, like there's a different way to create. There's a there's a way to create that is more in line with the heart. That's kind of what I'm feeling here. Um, and, with the hangman also coming up, it's like that is really speaking to this idea of really understanding the feminine energy in a very different way than it has been taught, right? So like in social constructs or the construct of society or institutions, like, sometimes like social media will present this idea of femininity as or the feminine as, you know, makeup and dresses and high heels, or even, in the toxic form of sexuality and bikinis and, you know, bodies that are like, meet some artificial standard of beauty. Um, the feminine is so much more than that. And I feel like that's why the devil is here too. It's like there is this right now. I feel like there exists in the general, right, the general public, the general collective, the larger Earth collective, of a very toxic view of femininity, or what it means to be feminine, or to embrace the feminine energy, right? And so when you look at it in that way, the if in that toxic view of the feminine, right? Which I don't know if toxic is the right word, but that limited view of the feminine, as the feminine only being the mother, the nurturer, the soft, heart focused, holding space, um, those are all actually very positive things about the feminine. But if you view the feminine in the way of like just like the whole makeup and heels and emotionally unstable or whatever, right? Then of course the masculine is not going to want to embrace that idea of the feminine. But it is a false idea of the feminine, right? Like it's the feminine is so much more than that. And so what I'm really feeling here is like, that the feminine is really needs to be defined or redefined in its more expansive definition, and not in its limited definition. And that the feminine is something to be embraced by all, not just women, but by men. Like it's really important for men to be in tune with their feminine side as well, and to, again, like, there's the feminine and the masculine can exist in duality, or it can exist in wholeness. Okay, so my question to you would be, how is the feminine energy showing up for you? What are your ideas and beliefs about what the feminine energy is? And how do those ideas and beliefs like really need to be restructured, because how much of it is based on what has been passed on, what has been taught, what has been held in your lineage about who the feminine is, right? And take a deeper look at it and see how it can be much more expansive, and then embracing that energy and allowing it to have more of a presence in this time space that we're in. Okay, and I really do feel like that's going to move us along, not just as in our individual lives, but as a collective, moving the collective into a deeper, higher, more expansive understanding of the feminine. All right. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Love you lots. Hope it helps. Aloha.